Okay. Well, hello, everybody. Kathy Hansen here. So glad you could join me today. Actually, we'd love for you to throw up in the chat box where you're from. And if it's snowing by your house like it is for me right now, which I honestly cannot believe. I thought spring was finally here, but we are getting snow again today in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Today, I am going to be talking about all kinds of tips and tricks for cleanup in the studio. I don't know about you. Well, you, I got to flip cameras for you to see what I was going to say. I don't know about you, but I get so involved when I'm creating that when all is said and done, I look around and I'm like, who had a party here? Look at this mess. So, I'm going to be using some tools that make cleanup a breeze, not only in the studio, but outside, in your house, just for everyday things that we do. So without further ado, I'm going to switch my camera here and we're going to get started. These are some of the ways that you can buy the Masters cleanup products by General Pencil that are available at Michael's. I personally love these two little kits because, especially the Artist Survival Kit, is a great way to try the product out first. I guarantee you're going to fall in love with it, and then you're going to want to get larger sizes of the Kiss Off and the soap and the brush cleaners. This new product that has the soap and just the Kiss Off in it, the product packaging says it all: ink, paint, stain remover cleanup kit. These are some of the things I'm going to share with you today. You are going to be amazed at the amount of stains and dirt these products can get out for you. I'm going to start with the brush cleaner. That comes in 3 sizes. You can get this just by itself as well. This little travel guy I take with me all the time. You don't have to deal with harsh thinners. It's non-flammable. It's environmental safe. And it also gets on airplanes. All you need is water for cleanup. This is the size I use a lot for my acrylics, for my acrylic brushes, but it also comes in this large tub if you are working with really, really large brushes. I know when I was teaching in the classroom, this big tub right here just sat right on my sink and it cleaned brushes for all the students for the entire year and then some. As I said, all you need is water for cleanup, and it will take out oils, acrylics, gouache, water-soluble oils, stains, varnishes, and even watercolor. I like to mention watercolor because so many people think because watercolor is such a thin fluid that all you really have to do is rinse it out. But you're going to find that there's still residue left. And that residue is just like, I always tell everyone, the day you wash your hair, you know, it just, you swing your hair and it just flows out, snaps back, has all that beautiful body. You know when you need to wash your hair again because you've lost that bounce. The hairs feel weighted down from residue. That is the same thing you're going to find with your watercolor brushes. So it's just as important to clean them well. And you're going to find when you think it looks like all that water is out, that if you wet it again, run it through. Can you see? I'm hoping my camera's going to pick this up. Look at that residue. There's a tint of green still in there. And that's what I mean about there being residue left behind. So all you do is lightly rinse those hairs back and forth. You never want to push down and smush. You just want to gently run those hairs across the cake of brush cleaner until you get a total clean rinse. And once you get that clean rinse, you are going to find that this brush, when you go to paint again, is going to absorb the max amount of water and the max amount of paint. And those hairs are actually going to just spread out and move effortlessly across the paper surface. So don't forget to clean your watercolor brushes. And then when you're storing them, you never want to store them straight up and down, because that water will wick down the wooden casing and it will swell the wood, which will loosen the ferrule on you. Oh, someone said General's brush cleaner makes my brushes feel brand new and soft after every clean. Yes, Melanie, it sure does. So that I just showed you it with watercolor. Now I'm going to show you with acrylic, because it will do from the finest sable brushes, bristle hairs, nylon, and synthetic. A lot of your acrylic brushes are synthetic or nylon. Get some paint out for you. Up it on my thing. And I've got all different types of acrylic brushes out here. I'm going to load it really, really good. And then I'm going to rinse it. Sometimes I have found, so I don't have to change my water as often, I always have extra paper towel on the side, and I take the majority of it out. That little tip's going to help you from having to rinse your water a lot of times in between. Again, same thing as with the watercolor. You're going to just notice I go one side, then the other. Again, you never want to go, because you're going to break some of those hairs off. And you just load it up. I go like this again, rinse it real good. I always give myself a second rinse just to make sure I don't see any paint still coming off those hairs. Now, this is a flat with a really nice chisel edge. If you find that your flat chisel edge is starting to get really wide, it's lost that crisp edge, and you cannot see any paint in the hairs, you might have loaded that brush past the ferrule, and some of that paint is in the hairs right underneath the ferrule. When that happens, what I do is I really load it up again. Like the sound effects. I really load it up to make sure I've got that paint way up there on both sides. Actually, I'm even going to do it a little bit more. Really make sure it is just super, super concentrated. Those hairs have a lot in there, and I leave it alone. I walk away from it for a while. And then when I come back, I put it in my hand, and I'm going to go back and forth with it flat, back and forth, pulling towards me. Flip it over, do the same thing. And all of a sudden, you are going to just see all this little stringy residue is going to just start coming out from underneath that ferrule. Then you're going to rinse that out. And you should have that perfect chisel edge again. If you don't, it means do another application of it. I can guarantee you are going to bring back that chisel edge on your brushes with your acrylics. Okay, and again, store flat, not up. Now, when it comes to oil paints, you can use odorless turp, which is a harsh solvent. You can also use vegetable oil. A lot of artists will just store their brushes that still have oil paint in them in the vegetable oil. Pull this one out, and then I find if I pinch it like this, I'm going to get the majority of that oil out of that brush for starters. Oils are messier to clean, but again, I put up with the mess because there are no harsh chemicals in this at all. Okay, it's environmentally safe. So what I'll do then, once I get the majority of it out, fold it in half, pinch it. Look how much more I'm still getting out. Okay. And then, believe it or not, they say oil and water don't mix, but just dip that oil brush in there and start working it. It not only takes all the oil paint out, but it conditions your brushes too. I am working with a lot of brushes that are 20 years old. I just can't say enough good things about this brush cleaner. Notice when I wipe, I always pull towards myself. Look, it is almost all out already. And again, this works on all type hair brushes. Give it a good rinse. All that oil paint is out of that brush without any harsh chemicals or anything. And I don't know about you, I'm very sensitive. I used to love painting in oils. I don't paint in oils near as much anymore unless I really have good airflow, because I've become sensitive to a lot of smells. That solvents, there's no way I can use solvents anymore. So I was really glad when I found out I could use this Master's brush cleaner. Some people like to size and reshape their brushes, whether it's your acrylics, your watercolors, your oils. And how you do that basically is, once it's clean, you're going to dip it in the water, and you're just going to put a thin coating of the Master's brush cleaner on the hairs of the brush. And then you just shape your brush and lay it down and let it dry. If you are painting in oils, all you have to do is, it's the hairs are going to seem a little bit hard. So I just sort of go, I break it. It goes crunch, crunch a little bit. That's all you have to do. You do not have to rinse that thin coating of residue out. You can put it right back in your oil paints again, and it's not going to make a difference at all. If you are doing it with your watercolor brushes or your acrylic brushes, then you would rinse that sizing out and then go right into your painting. One other thing I wanted to share with you is, have you ever had a brush that some of the hairs, when you pull it back out, are killywampus? They're going off in this direction or that direction. Don't snip them. That's the first thing everyone thinks to do. It's what makes the shape of the brush is really the positioning of the hairs underneath the brush. So in this particular round, as those hairs are gathered in there, some of the hairs are straight, some of them actually are curved. They are literally curved. They pick those hairs, and the placement, I've watched brushes being made, guys. It is amazing. There is a method to the way the hairs are gathered, pinched, and then crimped, so it will make different shapes. So you don't want to cut them off. What you'll do instead is boil some water on the stove, and make sure it's a nice rolling boil first, and then it goes down to a simmer. And then you're going to put the hairs in the brush, not the ferrule. You're going to go just a little bit before the ferrule. You're going to dip the brush hairs in the boiling water, and I go 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Pull it out. You don't want to hold it more than 3 seconds, because the heat again could swell the metal ferrule. And then you just sort of see if you've gotten the shape back. If it's still sticking out a little bit, you can repeat it a second time. Dip it in the boiling water, about 90% up those hairs. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Pull it up, rinse it. To cool it, I think the hairs have memory. And then to really make sure that the hair is going to stay that way, I give it that light coating of brush cleaner again. And I don't do what you saw me do before. You know, I give it a nice shaping. I just see what it's going to do on its own. Wait a few seconds. If I see one wanting to do that again, then I'll rinse it out and I will try the hot water a second time. Okay. I have brushes that as I paint with acrylic, the hairs come out with the paint. Should I throw that brush away? You honestly could try giving a good cleaning, but I really don't think that's going to make the difference. I if it wasn't a real expensive brush, I would throw it away. I think they weren't crimped properly and you're going to have that problem all the time. However, if it was an expensive brush, um, I would get hold of the manufacturer. There's no reason that that should happen. That's just me personally. Okay, did you guys find this little tip helpful? Yes, no, maybe so. Oh yes, very, very, very good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All righty. The next thing I kind of want to talk a little bit about is, I think I am going to save the soap for last because that's when I clean the messiest stuff with. I am going to move off to this Kiss Off, which is a stain remover. All these cleaning products have been around since 1979. And that's what I love about them. They're tried and true. The joke is, the reason it's called Kiss Off is it takes red lipstick off of white shirt collars. That's how they came up with this name. And I don't know about you, but red lipstick is hard to get off of almost anything. This not only does lipstick, it'll do grease and grass stains and blood stains, oil paint, actually all types of paint, unless it's been heat set. No product is going to take paint off of clothes that have been washed and dried. It just sets it into the fibers. But it also will do makeup. And this is how I clean all my rubber stamps now. I used to clean them before and there would still be residues left on them. Oh, and by the way, notice what I put them on. I don't know about you, but acrylic blocks are expensive. So I always try to find a cost-effective way to get the same thing done. So I started taking all these empty CD cases, which are so inexpensive. And as you can tell, I use them over and over and over. These are stamps before I tried the Kiss Off to clean them. This has been used several times, totally clean just from using that Kiss Off. So I'm going to show you that real quick. Especially in the UP where sometimes we are snowed in for days, I get a little crazy and I start experimenting, doing crazy things. And that's how I've come up with a lot of these tips for you guys. So I am going to ink this up. I'm going to stamp with it. And right off the bat, I could either rub this on right on the stamp. But what I like to do is dampen a sponge. And I'm going to you can tell I cleaned one just a little while ago. And I'm going to just rub it on it. Look how it instantly takes all that off, instantly. And then I'll rinse them, or what I like to do is I usually have a spray bottle handy and it'll just get all of it effortlessly. And this is how I clean all my stamps now. You put that right on white. There is not a speck of ink left on it. The main reason I tried this, I used to use ink removers, and I found that it was drying out the rubber on the stamps. And then my rubber was starting to crack and I couldn't get crisp line designs anymore. So that I'm like, what else could I use? So I tried my Kiss Off and it effortlessly lifted all that ink off. So, I use it all the time. I have a fun story about Kiss Off. I had boys that played college football even. And I know it gets blood out. I raised 4 boys. I know it gets grass stains out. I also now know it gets red wine out from raising 4 boys. But they came home from college and I couldn't figure out what was smelling in the back. And they had their practice jerseys and pants, and they were, full of body odor, dirt, grass stains, everything. So I thought I would be nice and clean them for them. It was the worst thing I could have done. All the stains came out. When it comes to clothing, what you do is, well, I'm going to finish the story first. So I sprayed the stains, and then I rubbed the Kiss Off all over, and then I threw them in the washer and they came out clean. Well, I got a call back from them after they were back at school and they said, don't you ever clean my uniform again. He said he looked like the Marshmallow Puff Man from Ghostbusters. He went out on that field in this nice white outfit, and the coach is like, Hanson, you must not want to start because, you're a slacker. And he goes, Kiss Off, coach. And the coach goes, what did you say to me? And he goes, it's called Kiss Off, coach. It's called Kiss Off. And he goes, go roll in the dirt or something. I can't look at you. You're so clean. So it really, really works. In fact, I did 2 cleaners on this beforehand, and gosh darn it, I don't think it's going to show up. The one cleaner, they're still red on. The Kiss Off area, it's totally white. So what you do first, water activates this product as well. It's AP approved. It conforms to the ASTM 4236 standards. I mean, again, very, very environmentally safe. However, I always try to tell everyone, please test for color fastness. And, with really bad stains, sometimes you have to do it more than once if a little bit is left in the fibers. I've also found out, depends on the clothing that you're working with too. Sometimes paint and stains grabs more on more inexpensive or cotton as opposed to other things. That's why you might have to do it a second time. So I am going to take some green paint. And I'm going to put that paint in there right away. The first thing you do is start dabbing it. You want to dab first, whenever possible. I'm going to dab it first. And then I'm going to give it, you want it nice and wet. Water is what activates the Kiss Off. And I'm just going to rub it on. So I rubbed it on. Now, right now, I'm working it in a little bit because I really have a lot there. And you can dab again. You can use a sponge if you want. What I usually do is just rub some on, let it sit a little bit. Or I'll go like this. See how it's just taking all that out? And then you rinse it. When I'm traveling though, what is so cool is I can dab it, wet it, really layer that Kiss Off on it and leave it. I let it dry in the hotel room. And then when I go home, I launder it. Look at this. It just effortlessly takes whether it's lipstick, whether it's blood, whether it's grass, coffee, guys, pet stains, oil and vinegar. And now I showed it to you on a piece of cloth, but you can also use it on upholstery. I have taken white tennis shoes, not only the cloth part of it, but the rubber part of it. You can use it on sports equipment, furniture, auto upholstery. Here's some, carpet, red wine on carpet. It even gets out, guys. I'm even taking some of my red wine. Let's say you had a wine spill. We actually had this happen the first time we were invited somewhere on someone's white carpet, and we were mortified. And my husband got down on his hands and knees and started, mopping it. And the lady's like, oh no, let the hired help do it. And he said to me, do we have any Kiss Off in the car? And sure enough, I always carried it. It was in the glove box. So we went outside and got it. And we turned around and we did the Kiss Off right away on it. We drew a crowd, by the way. They were amazed. It took it all out. You can tell right now it's already absorbing it. And then paper towel or sponge it out. Another thing this works on, you know, when nothing else works, I always pick up one of these 3 cleaning products just to see if it's going to work. I accidentally grabbed a permanent marker and wrote on my dry erase board, and nothing else would take it off. And I tried my Kiss Off. It took the magic marker off my dry erase board. I dampened it, I rubbed it on, and then I just, with paper towel, wiped it right off. It's as simple as this. Look, all out. I'll even do this. It's all out. There's nothing on it but the water. So I take it all the time with me. Remember, you can instantly wash things, but if you are somewhere where you don't have the time to do that, soak the material, rub the Kiss Off on, and just let it sit to the side in the hotel or whatever. When the shirt dries, just fold it up and wait and deal with it when you get home. Okay, what else can I share with you? I guess I am going to start with my hand soap. This was my saving grace back in college. I burnt this hand really, really bad. It took like 3-4 months of bandages to try to even grow the skin back. I have to be very, very careful when I go out in the cold, because I don't realize if my hand's getting frostbitten, and they also crack and bleed all the time. Since I discovered this soap that is gentle yet gets any kind of stain out, but also has skin moisturizing agents in it, it has made all the difference in the world. I can throw clay year round because clay really sucks the moisture out of your hand, as well as just cleaning paints and mediums and all the other stuff that us artists use in our everyday studio use. Again, no harsh abrasives. It's environmentally safe, and best of all, it smells like spearmint. It's, you know, I'm always sniffing my soap. You'll notice a little bit of bumps there are, but it's not pumice. But those soft particles really help lift things off. For instance, when I stencil, especially like this is heavy raised Fiero, it's like an iron like texture. So when I'm working with my stencils, I'm going to pull some of this out. Make room here. I've used this stencil so many times, you would never know, never know. And notice all those edges are still nice and crisp. Before, I tried using my hand soap to clean my stencils, and I was just taking paper towel and anything I can think of trying to get it off. Sometimes I would catch the edges and rip them or lift them up. That never happens when you are using the hand soap to clean your stencils. I won't do the whole thing again. I'm just going to give you an idea. So we've done our stencil, and then we're left with this mess to have to clean up. So what I usually do is I lay it on a paper towel for starters. Someone said it gets car oil off your hands too. Oh, I was going to say that. You beat me to the punch. Gardening. I have a plant here. When you know you're gardening and your hands are all dirty or it's under your fingers, effortlessly, and half the time you just put it on and everything just falls off almost. You're going to see when I clean this. So I use it a lot when I am gardening. My husband uses it when he's doing any kind of working on the cars or whatever. Just your normal grease and grinds too. Oh, getting back to the Kiss Off. Another thing it does is I use it a lot in the bathroom. it, you know, if your grout's looking all dirty and everything, and you don't want to have to pull out those harsh sprays again, you know, they clean your grout effortlessly, but you're dealing with those fumes. Just put that kiss off right on the grout and all your tiles, and it just brings them back to shiny white again. So, okay, I've got this. I lay this over just to get the first layer off. Okay. So I've pretty well got that first layer off. And then I am going to, I'll grab my little water bin I've got right here. Move some stuff over. I'm gonna get this nice and soapy. See how it effortlessly gives you this wonderful, wonderful lather. Look how it instantly just takes it off. Boy, the metal ones instantly like to start to dry. And then I'm just kind of submerged it in my hands because they are nice and lathery. So I'm going to rinse my hands off real quick. Get some more paper towel. You guys finding any of these tips helpful? See how that effortlessly just took that right off. I saw a little bit I missed. So this is how I clean all my stencils effortlessly. Also thought I'd share a fun little stencil tip with you all. I don't know about you, but they started in a little pile and then they went in a box, and it takes me so long to go through my stencils. So what I started doing is, instead of just flipping them in, because then sadly you're like, who made this stencil? All these beautiful stencils. And as time went on, I didn't remember where I got them from. So I'd have to go look them up online or go to the store again to see about them. I keep some people, we just put it in and there's your packaging right there. It's going to tell you the number and who made it. If you have a lot of stencils and you need more room, what I started doing was I took a piece of palette paper and put it in the middle, and then I could have two back to back. And then you can see the designs effortlessly. And then this is a new book I'm starting. These are some of them I haven't even taken out yet, but right off the bat, I just throw them in there. And then I just have to pull a book out that at a glance, you can see all your stencil designs. I'm starting to read just a few of these. I'm glad you think that's an awesome tip, Miss Patty. So therapeutic to clean your brushes. Yes, yes, especially Julia, who is doing such a wonderful job answering questions for you all. She is an unbelievable oil painter, especially portraits, and she just lets her brushes sit, you know, and build up. And then she does exactly what you said. She'll find a good movie or some good music, and she, you know, then just cleans them all at one time. Okay, so the hand soap, like I said, motor oil, gardening. I clean my stencils as well as, see, I let this dry. So now I got to get some soap on my palette knife as well. I clean everything. I clean everything with my soap. I only have to get a little bit on it. I can run it right through it. We'll even go through dried on stuff, guys. You just let it sit for a few minutes and it will penetrate through it. and it effortlessly cleans all of your tools too. If I am in a pinch and I am traveling, and let's say I don't have my Kiss Off with me, I can take my hand soap, and my hand soap in a pinch is what I will rub on my clothes to get stains out, carpets, any type of upholstery as well in a pinch. But, you know, each one has been formulated. The brush cleaner was formulated for natural and synthetic hairs. The soap was formulated for skin, and the Kiss Off was formulated for cloth. So they're all formulated a little bit differently. And any other questions real quick about anything? We have a septic tank. How is the cleaner for septic systems? That's what I have as well. I don't put my cleanup water from oils down the drain, but if it's been acrylics or my mediums or my watercolors, absolutely. It is there. There's nothing, it's environmentally safe. There's nothing harsh in it that will affect your septic. Sorry, I was reading. What was the first product? You were late. Oh, you need to rewatch this. It was the brush cleaner. And I showed it not only for oils, acrylics, gouache, watercolor, varnishes, and mediums. I showed how to restore your brush, which that's always such a good tip. I'm just going to show you again. Once your brush, oh, look at all this I got to get off. See, this is what I mean about I use my cleanup products all the time. I have a lot of that medium now all over my brush. It's dried and sticky, so I'm just going to take a little bit of my hand soap and get it right off. I'm putting some just on this paper towel, and it's going to soften it. That's going to pull it right off. This is a perfect example. If it's dry, just let it sit for a minute. Let it sit for a minute, and it's going to take everything off then. So what I was, as I digress, see what I mean? I need my hand soap again. I'm a messy little girl. For cleaning your brushes, once you know, and I always like to just rinse it and tap it to see how those hairs are going to lay by themselves, or flick it. When you flick the excess out, you're going to know if all those hairs are clean and falling back into the original shape that brush is supposed to have. That's another little tip and trick. So let's say you've totally cleaned it and you like to put preserver in it. Remember, it is going to condition all the hairs too and keep them at their maximum. So you're just going to put a thin coating on it. This is a watercolor brush. So I'm just going to put a thin coating on it and reshape it. And then you lay it flat when it dries. You don't lay it up, because even though there's not a lot of water in that brush hair, it's still going to wick down there and swell the wood, which is going to loosen your ferrule. So you always want to store them flat. If it was watercolor or acrylics, you are going to want to rinse the sizing out before you start painting. But if you've done it on an oil brush, all you're going to do is like bend it a little bit. You just break that thin outer shell, or even, where's another acrylic brush or oil brush? You can even go like this, and it's just going to flake off like in a little dusting, and you can go right into your oil paints. You don't have to rinse it out with water. It's totally compatible with it. It's not going to change the chemical composition of your oil paints. And then another thing I shared with them was, if you have stray brushes, how to get those stray hairs to go back to normal. Every now and then, it just won't. It's been killywampus for too long hanging out there, and it is what it is. But I have had wonderful results using the technique that I shared before, I'm going to tell you again. Get a pot of boiling water, bring it to a rolling boil, and bring it down to like a simmering boil. Put the brushes in, not all the way up to the very end. You want to leave a little bit of the hair showing, and you're going to dip it in the water, only that far, and go 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Bring it up, go like this, and see if the hair stays. If it stays, I give it a little bit of time. Hairs have memory. If it's still going out a little bit, then you can repeat it a second time. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, lift it out. Don't do it more than twice. Once, then I will run it through my brush water to cool it down. And again, tap or shake and see if those hairs are back in their natural shape again. If they are, then I put a thin coating of the brush cleaner on it and gently put it in place, lay it down flat to let it dry. I can see. What are some of the other questions people have, Julia?
Well, first of all, I want to say these are very cool tips. You're doing a great job. Secondly, one of the other questions that came up a lot was about dry brushes. Like, will it revive dry brushes? I'm not sure if you've covered yet.
Okay, I would love to know in the chat box. Okay, someone just said, Andy Plaid said not to soak brushes since it compromises the glue holding the bristles. Andy's absolutely right. This is what he means by don't soak brushes. That's exactly what he means. Don't leave your brushes just sitting in water for a long time, because that water is going to slowly wick up that brush. He's exactly right. And Andy is an awesome painter too, by the way. And he is one funny guy. So yes, that's what he means by don't soak your brushes, that it can affect the glue. Remember when I said even to put it in the boiling water, you only go about this far. You do not want to make that very tip of the hairs or the ferrule come in contact with the boiling water, because it's going to swell that ferrule, make it loose, and then some of the hairs could come out. What is included in the Masters ink paint set? All right, I'm so glad you asked me that again. I get so carried away doing everything, I forget. This particular packaging, the Artist Survival Kit, has been around for a very long time. That had all 3 of the products in it. This is the newest one. And we came up just with packaging it this way because, again, we are all using ink and paints so much, and mediums. And these are the 2 products you want to grab right off the bat. You know, some stores don't have everything individually. Like you can buy the Kiss Off by itself, 2 different size soaps by themselves. A lot of companies only have so much shelf space. So this is the route that they go. And then they will have one other thing, which they'll offer the larger size of the brush cleaner that is also packaged in a blister card. So this is like your one-stop shop just for the Kiss Off and the soap. This is your one-stop travel to just put in your art kit at all times, which will give you the Kiss Off stain remover, which is for clothing, the Master soap, which is for skin, but also remember stencils, cleaning up all your mixed media tools, and then also the brush, the nice little small travel brush cleaner to take on the road with you. What else? Anybody else? The white box ink paint remover is in the fine art section of Michael's. Yay! Can you show maybe how you organize your art and craft room a little? I'm trying to figure out how to create space for my son and I. We both like to do crafts. Sometimes we take up the dinner table. Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. How do I organize my craft room? I am very, very fortunate. I have a 3,000 square foot studio. So, I will kind of flip it real quick. And it's messy, guys. So first of all, can you see all the shelving unit with all of the plastic bins? And it goes on and on and on. I have several shelving units. I've learned to bin everything and organize it. My acrylics are all in different bins from different companies. My inks are, I showed you again how I do the stencils. My brushes are all separate. I mean, I don't know if you, I have brushes everywhere, guys, because I work in so many mediums. I also have my brushes for my pencil art. I do a lot of pencil art. Let me flip this over again. I use my masters too for them. Now, this particular one that has, where's some white paper real fast, that has my graphite powders in it, I don't clean on a regular basis. I actually, in particular, I have a separate one for charcoal and a separate one for my graphite at all times. But let's say I didn't and I wanted to switch from charcoal to graphite. I would clean this brush the same way I clean the other ones. Put it in the water, use the brush cleaner, rinse it all out, but make sure the hairs are really, really dry before I load it again. But I do clean my mop brushes a lot because when I'm using the mop, see, look at, that was clean, and look at the residue that this pulls out that a lot of the other brush cleaners don't. You just, they'll get so much out and you think it's clean. I have used other brush cleaners, got nothing out on the paper towel, come back and given it another rinse in my master's brush cleaner. And can you see that residue that it still pulls out? You'll be amazed at what residue you are going to find that other cleaners you used, all this time you thought that brush was getting clean. Another reason it's so important to clean your brushes and have them at the optimum is it makes a difference in how much water or paint the hairs can hold, but then also how it disperses then on the surface. Is it going to hop and skip, or is it going to give a nice even base coat? Does that make a difference? Will this work on my makeup brushes and sponges? Yes, it will. I was just going to say, I use it for my makeup brushes. Boy, you guys are catching on quick. Another way to organize your studio, because you have a smaller space. Before I had this large studio, I organized two different ways. The tools I use all the time and secondary tools. The secondary tools had to go in a closet. The best investment I ever made was all the clear bins, because at a glance you can see what's in what. I don't use my stamps as much as I use my paint. So the stamps were in one bin, but all the ink pads were in another bin, as well as, remember, all of the acrylic blocks, as well as the thin CD cases, much cheaper way, and you can put several on at once. My tapes were, and I separated secondary tools. Right out front is where I had all of my brushes and my paints and my surfaces. It's really easy to switch out. If I want to be a mixed media junkie for a while, I just have to bring like 3 of those plastic cases out. If I'm going to be doing my watercolor, that's how I found when I had a small area to work in, is I organized by medium, tools, whatever. Is that helpful? Good time to clean makeup brushes, since I haven't worn face makeup since pandemic. Some of us haven't even cut our hair yet since the pandemic. We only have a few minutes left. I hope you guys found this helpful, maybe. I also want to let you know, I will never do any type of a class and talk about something I don't truly, honestly believe in and use. That's, time and money is valuable. I try my hardest to find things that are cost effective for not only myself, for my viewers as well, and it frees up more money for me to get other new cool stuff that I really want to play with. So I do have another question for you all real quick. The last time I did something for Michael's, we talked all about pencil art and tips and tricks with it. Are there any other type of classes that you would like to see from General Pencil? We make pastel pencils. We make amazing watercolor pencils. Julia is going to be doing portrait painting for you guys next week. Julia, I'll let you talk about that for a second. But we love your input.
Yeah, so I just dropped the link to that class in the chat. If you want to sign up for it, it'll be portrait drawing, focusing on how to accurately and quickly lay in the proportions for a portrait with the General Pencil products. So you can get into that all that fun nitty gritty stuff, like drawing the eyes, drawing the highlights in the eyes, and all that fun stuff. So it'll be a good time, and I'm excited to see you all there as well. We're getting some. We would love to see pastel pencils class, watercolor pencils, watercolor and pastel. Tips for charcoal drawing. Yeah, I'll be sharing some tips for charcoal drawing in that class. I know the last class Kathy taught, she went into that quite a lot. So yeah, I'll let you get to what you're pulling out there, Kathy.
I pulled this one out because right in this area, notice no stain. I had so much fun painting these shirts. I'm going to just show you. This is a super easy tip, guys. If you have any kind of silk dyes or the real liquidy fabric paints, we just went out and found all kinds of leaves. And we literally just laid them down, put those paints in spray bottles and just sprayed, lifted off the leaves. And we had these really, really cool t-shirt designs. But an ink pen exploded on this one, and I loved it so much. Here is an example of Kiss Off taking ink from a pen right out of a light colored shirt, and it did not affect the colors. Some cleaners fade some of the colors or pull the color out. That won't happen. I paint on silk a lot, and I had a big stain on this. You would never know it. So not just clothes you're wearing, guys, delicate things like silk, cloth, something that's already been painted. It only takes the stain out. It does not remove the design that you have created on a white shirt. And quilters use it a lot too. If they get stains on their quilt squares, or actually even a finished square or a finished quilt. Remember, the secret is water activates the product, whether it is the brush cleaner, the hand soap, or the Kiss Off stain remover. Okay, class on stencils. Cool. Charcoal. Beginning basic shapes and how to change them into 3D shapes. Oh, that's all about value. That would be an awesome one too. You got olive oil stains on your shirts. You know, I've never tried it on olive oil. Oh, you're not talking about like from an olive grove, duh, Kathy. I do know, I do know it takes oil and vinegar. It took oil and vinegar dressing off of a shirt of mine. That helpful. I told you it takes blood. I told you, oh, another ink one. One of my son's basketball team in high school, I think it was, took the big conference championship, and they had t-shirts made for all the guys where everyone had signed it. So they had these shirts that had everyone's name right on it, as well as, you know, state champs or whatever. And when it went in the laundry, we missed a pen. A red ink pen exploded in the washer. Everything had red on it. And it was all these little red blotches in between all these names and everything. And I thought, what's the worst that can happen is it's not going to come out. So what I did is every little spot, I mean, it took me a half hour, every little spot where that red ink was, water, rub the kiss off, rub the kiss off, rub the kiss off through the whole thing. When I took it out of the laundry, I fully expected to have to do it a second time. Every single bit of red ink was off that shirt, except for right on a seam somewhere underneath. And I don't know if I missed it or it just didn't want to go off there, but literally I got all that red ink blotches completely off that shirt and saved it again. So yes, Michelle said Kiss Off isn't sold at Target or Kroger, but it's sold at Michael's and I love it. Oh, thank you so much. Someone said, I'll take any class you give. Thank you for all the wonderful tips. Another wonderful class. Janet D, thank you so much. How about dried blood stains? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, now remember, there is that disclosure. You know, there's always that one time that it could not take something out. And that's where you really have to look at the fabric itself. I know I was demonstrating at a big trade show for General Pencil. And I was painting and I looked under my arm, and you know how you get paint sometimes here and it grows. Pretty soon it was under my arm. It was down the side of my shirt. I took a kiss off, went to the bathroom, and I thought, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? It's not going to work. And this was acrylic paint. So I kept wetting it, rubbing it on, dabbing, rubbing, dabbing it on, not knowing in this huge bathroom at the trade show that I was drawing a crowd. So I got it all off and I went back to the booth, and we still laugh about this. Like a trail of people followed me out and went there and said, whatever she used, I want. So, you know, I've never had a stain that hasn't gotten out, but never say never. Okay. So we are at, I'm going to switch you over and you can look at me again so I can personally thank you all again for joining me, and happy painting to you all. And I hope this finds everybody safe and happy. And please make sure you sign up for Julia's class. I think you will absolutely love it. So I know, unless we have any last minute questions, going to give you one more minute. If you got one, throw it in. Okay, no new questions. So enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and hope to see you again. Bye-bye.